sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Ohio.
Welcome to Great American Ballpark and the three newest members of the Reds Hall of Fame. Bristol, Norman, and Dunn, and the other Hall of Famers in their red coats on the field for Game 2 of 3 between the Pirates and the Reds. It's Hall of Fame festivities, Dan Hort, that have been front and center on this beautiful Saturday afternoon.
And now we get ready for baseball. Game 2 of a 3-game series and of a 10-game homestand as the Reds get ready to take on the hottest team in the National League, winners of 7 straight. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they won last night 12-1, a game that was delayed by nearly 3 hours due to bad weather here in Cincinnati. The Reds, on the other hand, have dropped 2 in a row. The final game before the All-Star break, the first game after it. We'll see if they can get back on the winning track tonight.
Well, if they do, it's going to be because of Anthony DeSclafani. The Reds can score some runs, but where they make their hay is in pitching, and he gets a start, and he has to come back from what he did in his last start.
Got roughed up his last time out, but the numbers have been pretty good. Really, we didn't know what to expect out of Anthony DeSclafani after he missed a year and then the first 2 months of this season, but by and large, he's pitched pretty well. He's made 8 starts for Cincinnati, and in 4 out of the 8, he's given up 2 or fewer earned runs. Pitched well against the Pittsburgh Pirates in the past as well with a 3.38 ERA against Pittsburgh.
Well, the one guy he has to be careful of in that order for the Pittsburgh Pirates is Starling Marte. All he did last night was hit that grand slam, but I'll tell you what, Dan, he's had a 13-game hitting streak where he's hitting .389, 4 doubles, 5 homers, 14 RBI, and he's back to the player he was a couple of years ago. Had the suspension, he had some injuries, but boy, he looks very, very good right now in the middle of that order.
Part of a 16-hit attack last night, so it wasn't just Starling Marte with a double in the grand slam. The Pirates, during this 7-game winning streak, have really been hot. We'll see if Anthony DeSclafani can slow them down tonight.
Well, we hope so. It is Saturday night festivities and Saturday night fun. Jesse Winker is in the middle of a hot streak himself. We'll see if the Reds can even the series after this. Stay with us.
Hi there, Reds fans. I'm Local 12 meteorologist Brian Sherman with your game time forecast. Much like we had yesterday with the rain delay, more showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast as we head throughout our evening hours tonight. Heading for right around 75 by the first pitch. Chances for showers and thunderstorms all the way through the 7th inning stretch, and still holding on to some showers with temperatures into the low 70s by the time we hit the final out. Not the ideal forecast as the Reds are taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Scheduled 7:10 first pitch, but we'll be watching the radar as we head throughout the rest of the evening. Get the umbrellas, get the ponchos, everyone, and stay dry as we head throughout the evening. And of course, as always, go Cincinnati Reds.
All right, thanks very much. I'm Dan Horde. He is Jeff Pecora. We'll get up to the booth and Tom and Chris in just a moment. But first, time for our Elk and Elk storylines going into tonight's game between the Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates on a roll. They are up to 500 overall, but they have really beat up on the NL Central, 24-16 within the division. The Pirates 5.5 games ahead of the Reds and 5.5 back in the wild card race. You have to go back to 2013 to find the last time that the Pittsburgh Pirates finished above 500 within the NL Central. Stay tuned. When we continue, we'll have the first pitch of tonight's game between the Reds and Pirates here on your home of Cincinnati Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio.
On Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup, only your tri-state Chevy dealer. By Skyline Chili, feeling good, it's Skyline time. And by GMC. Some of the plaque to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum just off the first base side, off of Joe Nuxall Way. Here in downtown Cincinnati, big weekend and very nice ceremony on the field. Meant a few words this year, Chris Welsh. Not much to say for Dave Bristol, Adam Dunn, or Fred Norman.
Well, I think Dave Bristol set the stage there by going up there, and basically he had a 30-second thank you speech, and he got a big round of applause from all the guys who were sitting down there in the red suits. They didn't want to get too hot down there on the field, but you did a great job as MC,
Tom.
Thank
you. That was fun.
And it really looked like a lot of fun. And boy, it is great to have so many of those incredible players all assembled in one place.
Boy, you're not lying. When you see them, the memories, you're overwhelmed at what greatness there was and has been playing in this franchise for so long.
And you're just so impressed with the way the Reds have throughout their history, especially now with the Castellini ownership, at putting on these functions like this. The Hall of Fame induction every couple of years, all the parties that they put on, all the award ceremonies and so on. Everything is just done in such a perfect way, and I'm really looking forward to the gala tomorrow night over at the Convention Center and seeing all those great players again. It ought to be really a lot of fun.
All right, well, the Reds have taken the field, and it's game 2 of this 3-game weekend series. Let's take a look at Clint Hurdle's Pittsburgh Pirates starting lineup. They're back at the 500 mark for the first time since the middle of June. Dickerson, Marte, Polanco, Diaz, Moran, Bell, Rodriguez, Mercer, and Kingham. It's the same lineup that produced last night 12 runs and 16 hits. The man trying to slow him down tonight is Anthony DeSclafani.
Coming off somewhat of a rough outing is DeSclafani. He pitched last time against the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis, obviously before the All-Star break, and didn't start off well for him. Matt Carpenter hit a home run to start the bottom of the first inning, gave up a home run to Dexter Fowler in the second. Then the wheels came off big time, I think, in about the 5th inning or so when he gave up 4 runs. I'm wondering, though, if DeSclafani at that time was going through a little bit of a dead arm period. Just didn't look like he had a lot of snap on his pitches. Maybe having a little bit of time off here at the All-Star break will give him a chance to get refreshed a little bit.
Well, apparently we're having some kind of issue with the communication, either with replay or with the bullpens. But they'll clearly be working on that. Greg Gibson, the home plate umpire.
Kentucky's own.
Yes, indeed. Chad Whitson will be at first. Adrian Johnson at second. Tripp Gibson is down at third. And we look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Hamilton flanked by Duvall and Winker. Votto back in the lineup tonight, joined by All-Stars Jeanette and Suarez. Peraza at shortstop, and Casali, a rare start in place of Tucker Barnhart. Votto had to come in late in the game last night after the terrible injury, and we were so sad to hear what we feared would be an ACL tear for Alex Blandino. Chris, his season's over, and the best you hope for is he's ready to go spring training next year.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was such an unfortunate event for him, because it came late in the ball game on a play that was really almost a nothing type of a play, and just bad timing, bad spot. I don't think it was a malicious slide by any means on the part of Max Moroff. As he came in right here, he tried to slide, and I think he hit that dirt, and he kind of rolled, and he didn't expect to. Blandino planted his foot, and anytime you have your foot planted and you've got contact with somebody else, you're going to probably hurt either your ankle or your knee. In this case, it was his knee. So he's got a torn ACL, and the Reds have recalled from Louisville Brandon Dixon. We've seen him up here before.
All right, whatever the issue is, and it appears to be some kind of communication problem with replay, we are ready to go. Corey Dickerson had the last 10 minutes to fix his batting glove, so now we're ready to get into the box and play baseball here tonight. Dickerson waiting, and DeSclafani delivers ball 1 in this one underway. Dickerson really having a good year. 306 batter, 8 home runs, 38 runs batted in. Every member of the Pirates starting lineup reached base at least once last night, and everyone but Josh Bell had a hit, including Dickerson, who had 2 hits, including a home run. Boy, Dickerson has just lit it up in the games he's played through the years at Great American Ballpark. A .429 batting average. 2 balls and a strike.
Now, he was an all-star last year for the Tampa Bay Rays in 2017. Had a good year for the Rays overall. Ended up batting .282, which is right around his lifetime batting average. So right now, when he's sitting at .306 or so, he's a little bit above what he's been doing. And of course, a lot of those numbers he put on the board when he was a member of the Colorado Rockies, playing out there in Denver. .27 home runs last year, only 8 so far this year. Oh, wow.
That got DeSclafani. A rocket off his body that goes to Jeanette, and immediately Reds training staff out, manager Jim Riggleman out.
Well, I got on him before he could even move. And Tom, we're up here in the third deck, right behind home plate. Now, the windows are open, but you could hear the ball hit the bat and then hit his leg. I mean, it sounded very loud. And hopefully he'll just be able to walk it off.
Hit his left leg. His right leg came through on the follow through.
May have hit his shoe. I'm thinking that is a huge break right there. Because if that had gotten on, you know, his leg or you know, bone on bone, for instance.
Yeah, you get into that fibula and that tibia, and anyone who's ever had a break in that area, and I have, it is a brutal injury. Very, very hard to come back from any kind. In fact, there are doctors that'll tell you sometimes you're better off breaking that than you are getting a very, very deep bone bruise on that shin.
Mm-hmm. Well, your injury certainly cured me from skimboarding.
And it has cured me from ever thinking about doing it again. Thank you for reminding me. I just broke into a sweat thinking about it. I think DeSclafani is good to go.
Good. Well, there's two good news, really. He got an out on the play, which goes 1-4-3, and he stays in the ball game. So that is good news.
And the rain you can clearly see is starting to fall. Skies have gotten considerably darker just in here in the last minute or two.
You know what, though? I don't see anybody really in the grounds crew collecting in a group like they normally do. Right down there at the end of the dugout. Because they're scattered around, maybe checking the radar, maybe it's not going to be something we have to worry about.
Brought the poncho along or picked one up outside the ballpark. Good move there. Here's Starling Marte. First pitch swinging in the air over near the stands and out of play a dozen rows. Marte had a grand slam here in the game last night. He also added a double.
Hey, you see what Jesse Winker's trying to tell. He was telling Scooter, Jenna, I couldn't see it. I'm looking up into the sky, and all I have is rain coming into my eyes. And he didn't see that baseball really where it landed in the stands at all.
Marte tardy again and quickly behind 0-2. He is really heating up. We saw him earlier. He was out with an injury. Marte is batting .375 this month. That is fourth best in the National League behind Trevor Story, Jose Peraza, and Charlie Blackmon. And that's why he's hitting .375. That's an 0-2 breaking ball that he just hooks into left field, and here he comes to second base. And he is out, slid by the bag.
All right, we're going to get a replay. We're going to take another look at it. He just goes down there and flips that two-strike pitch in the left field right there. Adam Duvall is an excellent left fielder. And they're going to have to take a look at that to find out if Jeanette got the tag on him before Marte was able to get that right hand back on the bag. Maybe this will give us a better look.
Well, you talk about a crazy start to a game. We have a delay before the first pitch ever begins because we're having some kind of issue with replay. You get a line drive that hits a pitcher in the leg, so the training staff comes out. Then you get a ball and we're under review. Two batters into the game.
That's about the best shot that we can give you right there. It looks like Jeanette's got the tag on him. That's a great look right there.
Sure is. Out.
outs are not coming easy so far.
Well, I tell you one thing. Had Marte been running hard when he hit the ball, there would never have been a play at second base. He'd have gone in standing up.
You're
but
right.
we show you that replay where once he makes contact, he's basically going about half speed till about 2 steps away from the first base bag. You be the judge at home. Take a look at this. I mean, that's not going hard. Now we're going hard. So
well,
thank you very much.
You know, he wasn't going full out, but he wasn't dogging it either. I mean, he was going a pretty good pace down there. But if you're thinking about going for 2, that's not the way you go out of the batter's box.
So now Gregory Polanco. He had a triple and scored a run in the Pirate win here last night. And takes low and away. 2 balls and a strike to the Pirate right fielder Polanco. And that'll do it. 1 hit. Reds coming up when we return. Riggleman replaced Brian Price as manager. He's the interim manager, and his starting lineup reads as follows. Peraza, Jeanette, Votto at the start. Suarez, Winker, Duvall in the middle. Casali, DeSclafani, Hamilton the latter third. Reds for the first time getting a look at Nick Kingham. What do we know about this young right-hander?
He's a pretty good prospect. Kingham is. He's a big, tall guy. Throws in the low to mid 90s. He's got 2 kinds of fastballs, a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. He prefers the one upstairs, the 4-seam variety. Also has a slider, which is a really good pitch, and an occasional changeup.
Peraza leads things off and looks at ball 1. Jose, another hit last night. Of course, he ended the first half of the season with the best series of his career, the best 3-game series in terms of hits in the history of the Reds franchise. Baseball's oldest, as you know. Had 11 hits in a 3-game series against St. Louis. Well, the rain had temporarily stopped, and now it's on again. We had not had rain here in so long. And now you get basically 48 hours straight of it outside of, thankfully, the ceremony, which took place on the field starting at 6:30. Sun was actually out during the ceremony, and here we are less than an hour later. She better get a raincoat for her baby's baby. And there's a walk to Peraza to open the Reds' first inning. You wonder how long they're going to play through what is now the hardest rain we've had since it started. Not brutal. Take a look at that.
That's one of the parts of his game that has really improved. He was a very difficult guy to walk early. You know, when he first came up, he was afraid of striking out, chased a lot of pitches trying to make contact. But now that he's been able to shrink the strike zone, it's a whole different matter. And that's why he's at the top of the order.
Now Scooter looks at ball one. Jeanette at .324, 16 home runs, 63 batted in. Scooter went 0 for 2, drew a walk, scored a run in the game here last night, and they took him out of the game early. Boy, it's really raining.
Yeah, they must feel that this is just a little passing shower because it is really beginning to bring it.
1 ball, 1 strike on Jeanette.
You know, you may have heard of Nick Kingham when he had his major league debut. It was back in April. On April the 29th, he was pitching against the St. Louis Cardinals, and he did not give up a hit or a base runner. Through the first 6 2/3 innings, he was on the verge of making Major League Baseball history with a perfect game before he gave up a single to Paul DeYoung. Ended up with go on and win that ball game 5-0 to record his first career win. But boy, what a start he had.
And he's coming off back-to-back solid games. He got kicked around. Sounded like a broken bat by Jeanette, hooked off the screen. You know, he got kicked around 2 starts ago by the Dodgers. They scored 7 runs in 3+ innings against him. But his last 2 starts, 6 innings, 1 run against a good Philadelphia team, 6 1/3, 3 runs, as we know, against a very good Milwaukee team. In fact, that start you referred to, Chris, part of our IGS Bringing the Energy, only 2 pitchers over the last 100 years to allow a hit, not a walk, strike out 9 in a major league debut. We saw Johnny Cueto do it against Arizona, the opening series in 2008. That was the 3rd game of the year. And then Kingham.
That was the last day Johnny Cueto cut his hair.
Might be right.
If Kingham has a half the career that Johnny Cueto has had, you can write it down as being extremely successful.
And if he has half the career that Johnny Cueto has, maybe we'll send you out to visit him during the offseason and celebrate his mother's birthday.
There you go. I won't make you wait for the tape this time.
Yeah, please don't. Cueto was closing in on a retirement decision by the time we finally saw that video. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Scooter. Fastball up and away.
That was a show pitch right there. What they're trying to do to Scooter Jeanette, and I think the Pirates are trying to do it, as well as all the other teams. A lot of them are not having much success. Is just basically pitch him down and in. Try to land that breaking ball on his back foot. Have him try to swing over the top of it.
Glenn Hurdle, the manager of these Pittsburgh Pirates, done a good job there. And early on here, it's only 2 batters in, but Kingham is all over the place. Wonder if the wet baseball might have anything to do with that. Scooter looked like he was in the playpen before the game ever started. Swinging a foul ball out of play. I mean, take a look at him. I mean, he's a mess, and we're in the bottom of the 1st inning.
He's just not getting comfortable. Well, he was involved in both the first 2 plays of the ball game. There's the scoop, and he was at the very back end of this play when Adam Duvall fires it in there, and they're able to catch Marte off the bag.
Peraza will be running on this 3-2 pitch once more. And it's ball 4, so back-to-back walks issued by Kingham. to begin the Reds' first inning, and Joey Votto coming up. Well, I'm sure we're going to have a visit to the mound. There's no doubt about that. Take a look at the Pirates on defense, presented by Ford. Marte flanked by Dickerson and Polanco. Moran, Mercer, Rodriguez, Bell third to first, and Diaz again filling in for the concussed Francisco Cervelli. Joey Votto the batter, and there's ball one. Well, Kingham grew up in Las Vegas. Now, clearly through his minor league career, I mean, he's pitched in places like State College, West Virginia, Altoona, Indianapolis. So, you know, he's had to pitch in conditions, I'm sure, like we're having right now. But certainly didn't grow up pitching in those kind of conditions, because in Las Vegas, you hit the spring, you're looking at 95 plus every day. This should be a double play ball. And it is. On to third goes Peraza. 2 down in the inning.
The infielders are going to be especially careful right there, and you see Sean Rodriguez, who's kind of a fill-in player. He makes a very deliberate turn as he fires the feed to the shortstop covering the bag, but they're still able to get the 2.
So now Eugenio Suarez.
Mercer was at the other end of that. He's a steady Eddie out there defensively.
Suarez at .315, 19 home runs, 71 runs batted in. You know, we're talking about Alex Blandino. They're going to wait until Monday to perform his surgery. Had a chance to see Dr. Timothy Kremchek down in the Reds dugout before the game started here tonight. Fastball taken away. 2-1 to Suarez.
We sure wish him the best.
Sure do.
You know, we've seen so many players along the way. And Tom, you've been in the NFL arena for a long, long time, and that's a very common injury there. You know, it's all about the rehab and the dedication.
No doubt about it.
Putting it back into it.
There's no question about it. It's miraculous the way some of these guys are able to come back as quickly as they do. And I'll be honest, I don't understand why it is that the football players seem like they come back much faster than the baseball players. I don't know why. And it doesn't mean that's true in every single case. But it certainly just seems like they, you know, you look at Giovanni Bernard. I mean, what he did last year, I'm not sure has ever been done by anybody that had an ACL tear. He was ready for training camp last year in July after he had torn it the second to last weekend of the season, basically right around New Year's Eve. Of course, Bernard is boy, what a physical specimen. Straight up in the air. Hit pretty well. Marte appears to have room and will. First 2 reach, a runner left on base. A lot going on in the first inning, except for runs.
the number of years that I know even before I got here. And it's just so incredibly to be in front of you all now.
Look at those numbers in his 7 seasons with the Cincinnati Reds. You were talking about those last night, Chris.
Really incredible. I mean, pitching for the Reds, and he mentioned it right there, rather than pitching against them certainly helps you out. But 85 and 64, a very fine earned run average. And the guy did it really, this is after he had a major arm injury, came back and learned how to pitch in a different style, famous more for his off-speed stuff, especially kind of a sinking screwball type changeup pitch. And boy, what a competitor.
All those Hall of Famers hanging out together in one of the sky boxes. Here's Freddie. Top of the 2nd inning we go here in Cincinnati. No score, and the rain has nearly stopped. So maybe the grounds crew wouldn't be surprised one bit. They're all over it 24/7, 365. This appears to be a very, very tight strike zone early on here tonight. And you and I talk about it all the time. They can talk about pitch clocks. They can talk about guys stepping out of the box. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about. If they would just open up the strike zone a little bit more and call more strikes, then the borderline pitches that seemingly almost every night go for balls, you'd have guys swinging a bat and you'd be moving.
Especially early in the count. I think you kind of set the stage that way. I don't want to see a hitter called out on a pitch that's not definitely a strike for strike 3, but early in the count.
I mean, that pitch right there. I mean, are you kidding me? That is right at the knees on the corner. You tell me. That's right there.
Why swing at one on the knees on the corner when you can swing at one in the dirt?
Very well put, and certainly logical. Well, this guy's really played well. Diaz getting a chance to play with the injury. And there's strike 3. There's no debate about that. Hard to believe that Diaz would even question that call. First strikeout for Anthony DeSclafani. Oh, maybe he does have a gripe. It's funny, it was a reverse of what you talked about, Chris.
Yeah.
Didn't see it early in the count, saw it to end the at-bat.
You know, that's the pitch that's on the outside corner. If you look at where the umpire sets up, he always sets up in what they call the slot, which is between the catcher and the hitter. So that's why it's very difficult to get a pitch that's on the inner part of the plate called for a strike if it's not actually on the plate, because he's got that perfect line right over the catcher's shoulder. But that one that's on the outer corner sometimes have a little variance. You know, I had one of the Pittsburgh broadcasters come over in between innings last night, Tom, and asked me a rules question. And he said, what if Colin Moran decided not to shave his beard, say, for the next 2 years or longer? And now he's got a House of David look, right, all the way down to, say, around his waist. And a pitch comes in off the plate, and he gets his body out of the way, but as he moves to get out of the way, the ball actually comes through and hits his beard. Would that be a hit by pitch? And I asked a couple of rules experts. I asked Rich Marazzi, who's a rules consultant for about a dozen different teams. Then I asked some umpires, and they said yes, it would be.
Yes, it would be. Yes,
a hit by pitch.
Yes,
part of his body.
Yep. Well, he looks at strike 3.
That's good movement on a fastball there. Little front door fastball. Two-seamer action.
Told you Josh Bell reached base a couple of times on walks, but he was the only Pirate in the lineup without a hit last night. Although for the first time all year long, Bell is starting to swing a good bat. And they're seeing the guy was pretty good last year. Peraza able to knock it down, but able to pick it up cleanly, and that'll be a base hit for Bell. When they were shading him up the middle, and he still hit it to the left of the shortstop. MLB.TV now available at a lower price for $82.99. You can watch every single out-of-market regular season game or on demand the rest of the year. And it includes MLB At Bat Premium. Visit MLB.TV for more details. Runner at first. Second Pirate hit against DeSclafani, 2 out. And what a night it was for Sean Rodriguez last night. Were it not for a great play by Suarez in the first inning that looked like a 2-run double, the rest of the game, Rodriguez would have 3 hits and knock in 4. He could have had 4 hits and driven in 6. Oh, and by the way, he also drew a walk and scored 3 times. Swing and a miss, and DeSclafani strikes out 3 in the inning. He allows a base hit. Still no score after an inning and a half at Great American Ballpark. Transylvania ticket package. Special character appearances tomorrow by Draken Mavis. And this limited edition bobblehead is only available through this offer. Go to reds.com/theme. Kingham walked the first 2 batters, but got a double play ball and a fly ball. No damage in the first. Here comes a red-hot Jesse Winker, a career best 11-game hitting streak, during which he's been a whopping .500 batter with nearly a .570 on-base percentage. It is tied for the second longest active streak in baseball going into play. He'll be retired his first time up tonight. straight up in the air. Off the bat of Duvall and lands in the glove of Polanco and right, and just like that. 3 pitches to retire the first 2 batters. You know, we talked about Kingham walking the first 2 batters of the game, and we wondered could it do anything to, you know, with a wet baseball. It was raining really, really hard here. Keep in mind, the most batters he has walked in his first 9 major league starts is 3. So just based on that alone, maybe there's something to that wet baseball. Maybe. Here's Casale. Limited playing time, has done a good job. 302 batter. Home run and 2 knocked in. Reds beginning play tonight. 11 games under. 43 up. 54 down. Ball driven hard, but right at Polanco, inning over. Wow. 5 pitches to get 3 outs. Set along the third base line before the game tomorrow for Sign Sunday. You make a sign to support the Reds or your favorite player, and who knows, maybe you'll be part of our Reds live telecast tomorrow. Come on down.
That's a bow tie bar out there we're taking a look at.
Yes, it is.
Looks like a nice spot.
Brand new spot overlooking the mighty Ohio into the rolling hills of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Understand that Adam Dunn is going to stop by the broadcast booth. At least that is the game plan, we're told. It's nice to see him and his wife Rachel down there. So friendly. Just had their 4th child, a 5-month-old little baby girl.
It's amazing.
Yeah. 1-1 on Mercer. Saw Big Adam hanging out here at the game last night. I mean, after that long rain delay, 3 hours worth, and he was here late in the game. Top of the 3rd, no score. Still can't believe that was a 5-pitch inning to get 3 outs for Kingham. But that's what it was, and the Pirates right back to the plate. Mercer, Kingham, Dickerson coming up. And DeStefani, a long look in, wondering where that missed.
Well, he's also looking at that mound a little bit too. You know, I was about to mention to you, Tom, about Kingham having control problems. First 2 batters of the game he walked, and that's when it was really raining hard. Usually it's not the baseball that gets wet. It's your footing. Your cleats get full of mud, and when you land on your front foot, you slide just a little bit. Even if you slide a half an inch, it throws you off a little bit.
Last 4 outs recorded by DeSclafani, all strikeouts. So we'll keep an eye on that. In the air to right field, that'll back up Winker, and Kingham retired. 2 up, 2 down. Well, here comes Dickerson. We'll wait for him to fix those batting gloves now before he gets in the box. Yeah, here we go.
He might be doing that in honor of Sean Casey, who's in the house tonight.
Straight away center field, and he tightened him up a plenty. Because Dickerson, for the 3rd straight game, has played long ball.
Boy, it was almost like he was looking first pitch breaking ball and got exactly what he was looking for.
These Pirates have just been killing the baseball. I mean, the difference in this win streak and this extended period where they played well has been the starting pitching, but they are hitting lots of home runs. Jam shot, fly ball into center. And that will end the inning, but not before damage done. Home run surrendered by DeSclafani to Dickerson. 1-0 Pirates.
Sean Casey, the mayor of the old riverfront and now great American ballpark. This is so much fun. You always have a smile on your face, but to have the red jacket and get one of your teammates, Dunner, in here, that's got to be something special.
Well, what's cool is now when your teammates start going in, it's fun, right? So to have Dunner out there today, and, you know, listen, I played with him for, I think, 5 or 6 years and saw him come up, never greater power than I've ever seen by Dunner. I played with some great people, Big Poppy, all the guys I played with throughout my career. But Adam Dunn, man, was a special player, but a special friend. It was a lot of fun today.
You just went through this a few years ago, so what are the emotions he's feeling right now as he's getting ready to have the big gala and get up and speak?
What's great with Dunner is I know he's so nervous. Like, no one knows Dunner the way I know him. Was like, for him to talk in front of people today, have that little speech is nerve-wracking. And for tomorrow night, will be nerve-wracking again. So it's kind of funny to watch him because I'm kind of laughing, but I know he's nervous about it. But listen, he loved playing here in Cincinnati. He loved these fans. They treated him well. He's got some great numbers, the home runs he put up, the OPS and everything. So it's a great couple days for him.
Sean, best part of this, is it getting that red jacket and being part of this fraternity, if you will?
No, it's unbelievable. Jeff, I sit out there and, like, ahead of me today was Larkin, Doggy Perez, Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Concepcion, and, like, Dunner's out there, and, all these guys are there. It's so impressive. So I think when you come with the red jacket, I told Dunner, I said, in 2 years when you come back with the red jacket and you see the guys that are here, you'll really appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, and it's great to see you again.
Jeff, you're the best, dude. Great seeing you too, my man. Thank you.
Sean Casey, Tom.
Hey, pick. Before you let him go,
Yes,
ask him, could he have hugged more people more times at the All-Star game than he did? Please.
Brett, he knew it was you.
Brenneman? Is that you, Tommy,
Yes,
asking questions?
Yes, it is.
What's he got? What's the question?
More people at the All-Star game than you did.
No. The only person going to talk more is Tom, okay? He's the only guy that could know more people out there than me.
I don't believe that for a second.
I'm coming up to the booth for the last 3 innings.
There we go. There you go.
No, I'm not.
He's going to throw it down. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. All right, boys, back to you.
Boy, what a piece of work. I told him today I didn't have enough time to talk to him. I've never seen anybody hug more people than he did at that home run derby. Every time they took a shot, he's standing there hugging people and smiling and high five. What a piece of work.
Guy never runs out of energy.
No, he does. He's just a special guy, man. And there's a base hit by Peraza. Boy, how good has he been? This will be a double for Jose. And that is the first Cincinnati hit.
Yeah, he's been up base and off twice and on base twice. Walked his first time, gets the ball right down the line. I mean, crosses the bag in fair territory. So with 2 out there, Reds get somebody in scoring position and try to tie this baby up.
All right, now a chance to tie this baby up with a base hit, or a long one would give the Reds a lead. They trail 1-0 here in the last of the third. Ball 1 to Scooter. Jeanette walked his first time up. Rain beginning to lightly fall again. Very, very lightly, but fall nonetheless. I think that heard from local 12 weather before the game. That's something we could see throughout the night. That'll end the inning. 1 hit, 1 left. 1-0 Pirates at the end of 3. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, now ranked number 2 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. David Concepcion, Peter Edward Rose, Johnny Lee Bench, Tony Perez, Jose Rio, Tom Browning. Boy, Danny Dreesen. Darrell Chaney, he's not in the Reds Hall of Fame, but boy, he looks great, doesn't he?
He does look good.
I've not seen him in years and years. That's him in a light blue shirt. Coming back to see some of his old buddies. There's Ron Oster. Doug Flynn there in the background. Good to see Dougie in town. We got to hang out with him a little bit in St. Lou last weekend.
Really great to have him.
Sure is. Pirates lead 1-0 as rain starts to fall a little heavier now in the top of the 4th inning. And ripped into right center field. That'll be a base hit. Over to cut it off is Winker, and here comes Polanco to second base. A throw in there is not going to be in time.
A little quicker out of the box for Polanco than it was for Starling Marte in the 1st inning. He lifts this ball right over the head of the second baseman, Jeanette. And it splits the gap out there. Anytime you've got an outfielder going sideways, that's when you want to, if you're going to try to take an extra base on him, that's when you do it. Not a bad effort by Winker. Just that throw had to be right on the money to get him.
Diaz had a really good night here last night. Of course, a number of the Pirates did. We mentioned they had 12 runs and 16 hits, but Diaz had 3 hits, knocked in a run. His first time up tonight was called out on strikes. A double to start the Pirates' 4th inning, and a soft tapper to the left side will advance the runner down to third base. 1 out. Well, brought to you by Miller Lite. We'll look forward to our Hold True moment coming up later in tonight's game. Brewers and the Dodgers are underway in Milwaukee tonight. Brewers are reeling right now. They slipped to 3 full games back of the Cubbies, losing 7 straight games.
I think today, though, the difference may be for them, and he hasn't been really a difference maker yet, but they're getting Ryan Braun back off the disabled list, so that may help them a little bit.
Cubs won their game earlier today, pardon me, Chris, over St. Louis.
Though, Tom, that are built around hitting, you know, those are the ones that can fall into slumps.
Yes.
If you have stud starting pitchers, you don't seem to slump nearly as much. When you've got a guy the next day who can throw a lot of zeros on the board. Foul tip.
Reds have the infield in, trailing 1-0, and it's 2-1 on Moran, who was called out on strikes back in the 2nd inning. Chris Sabo. Well, he hasn't changed a bit, has he?
Not one bit.
He looks great. Stayed in tip-top physical shape. He's lived here in town forever and a day.
Oh, we saw him down in spring training with his baseball team. He's the head coach at IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Florida, where they have just a ton of top talent going to school down there and playing baseball for him. Really loves what he's doing.
That'll be a walk to Moran. So that'll bring up Josh Bell, who had an infield hit on a sharply hit ball back up through the middle. That's the first walk issued by DeSclafani in the game tonight. And Casale out for a quick visit. They'd love to have Bell roll one up here into a double play and get out of this mess. It began with a double to start the inning by Polanco to right center. Bell is a prime candidate to bounce into a double play. He has 6 of them so far this year. Not this time. That ball blistered down the right field line into the corner. Polanco will score. They are going to hold the runner at third on an RBI double by Bell. And the Pirates now own a 2-0 lead.
Well, the damage tonight, there hasn't been a lot of damage, just a couple of runs in, but have been on the breaking ball. Bell gets an off-speed pitch, just a slider that really doesn't do much. And it was a first pitch curveball to Corey Dickerson that accounted for the home run. I don't know if weather has anything to do with it or not, Tom, but I noticed last night it just did not seem like either of the starting pitchers had a lot of bite on their breaking ball last night. Everything kind of rolled up there. Now, Jameson Taillon pitched a pretty good ball game overall. But, you know, DeSclafani has a kind of slider and breaking ball that when he gets on top of it, it really has some sharp break. And tonight, just not quite as much. Well, we do know one thing about Sean Rodriguez, though. He is hunting a fastball.
Off speed. Rodriguez thought that pitch was up in the strike zone. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Of course, we're looking for a sacrifice fly, too, if you're a Pittsburgh Pirate. And that's what you're seeing right here is that green line. I'm going to draw right over the top of it. But that has been calculated based on the strength of the arm of the fielder, how deep the ball is being played, the speed of the runner. And that's StatCast powered by AWS. That's the sacrifice fly line. Didn't get it out that far.
No, he didn't. That will not get in the run. Really nice play there by Suarez. That's an excellent play. And the runners stay put. It'll be an intentional walk handed over to Jordy Mercer, and with the bases loaded, DeSclafani will now turn his attention to the pitcher Kingham, who hit the ball very hard his first time up, and that one's a foul ball. Kingham drove, you may remember, Winker back to the warning track, 2 steps in front of the wall his first time up. He only has 1 hit in 17 at bats. That hit was a double, and he's knocked in 2. This is a big at bat in this game. Granted, we're only in the 4th inning.
Well, it's a big at bat if he comes up with a base hit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I guarantee you, when he was growing up in high school, he went to high school in the state of Texas. He was probably the best hitter on the team, if not in the league. I thought it was Texas. Las Vegas, excuse me. Well, same thing.
Same thing, that's right. Same thing.
Doesn't matter what state he was in.
No.
When you're 6'5" and throw like he does, he was probably a pretty good athlete that everything revolved around him.
5 strikeouts for DeSclafani, but the Pirates get another run and lead 2-0. Off again all night long. So play will be halted here in the middle of the 4th inning. Reds coming up trailing 2-0 to the Pirates in game 2 of a 3-game weekend series. Expecting more rain tomorrow. They waited and waited and waited and waited 3 hours last night. Ultimately, that turned out to be a good call because of, really not knowing what you were going to be looking at tonight and then subsequently again tomorrow.
Well, I think Major League Baseball really wanted that game played last night because they did not want a day-night doubleheader today, which is probably what they would have ended up having to do. So it's because the weather was so unpredictable here for the rest of this evening and again for tomorrow. So big crowd here tonight. They'll find somewhere to stay dry, hopefully, until they are able to resume play.
Well, we got Understand that we're going to get going here any minute now. The Pirates have already taken the field, and they still have Nick Kingham out there on the mound. Kingham needed 15 pitches to work through the last 2 innings. In fact, he had a stretch of 5 outs where he needed a total of 7 pitches. His team has scored single runs in each of the last 2 innings and has a 2-0 lead as the Reds are coming up here in the last of the 4th.
Hey, before we go on to that, what do you think about Ronnie Osu?
That's my kind of man.
You're not kidding about
my
that.
kind of guy. That's a problem with society in general, in my very humble opinion.
Well, without going that far and just talking specifically about baseball, we've had this conversation, Tom, you and I, with coaches, with scouts, with front office personnel who've been around a while. And they say that what Ronnie Osu just said is spot on. I mean, the game has changed, obviously, but the players have changed probably the most, and he's have to handle them completely differently. So I'm glad that he was able to say that where a lot of people could have a chance to hear it. So he's going to give him one more pitch. The home plate umpire Greg Gibson will, and it looks like Anthony DeSclafani is going to stay in the ball game when the Reds come back around and take the field.
You know, the bottom line is, Chris, I think we all agree that most, not only kids, but even professional athletes, they want discipline. And they don't mind being told that something's wrong at the end of the day. And I think that's why you still see, even at the highest levels of professional sports today, comments made by James Harrison the other day about Bill Belichick. I don't know if you saw it or not. He was asked to compare Mike Tomlin to Bill Belichick. He said, Belichick is the ultimate disciplinarian. He tells it like it is. And that's why they win all the championships. How many other guys are they saying that about at the very top of an NBA team or a Major League Baseball team? I don't know how many they're saying it about. I have no idea. So we're back at it. Joey Votto quickly down a strike. And a fastball is outside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. I would love to have seen Oster got a legitimate chance to manage his team. But he just said it. He doesn't even think he could do it anymore.
Well, he was actually named the manager, I think, for about 24 hours, wasn't he? That was one of the more injustices that happened here in the last couple of decades. That's a pretty good breaking ball right there. And he's got a curveball and a slider. And you can see when you get a reaction like that out of a hitter like Joey Votto, who normally reads a pitch right out of the pitcher's hand. Did not see that one coming, and he drops in there for strike 3.
Second strikeout of the game for Kingham. And here's Suarez. The only jam that Kingham has been in came in the bottom of the 1st inning. That's when he walked the first 2 batters. But then he got Votto to bounce into a double play, and the man to the plate now to hit a fly ball to center, ending the threat. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hopper down to 3rd. Moran will throw out Suarez. If they read it's a home run off that Toyota sign in right center tonight. Roger Huntington from Union KY will win this beautiful new Tundra that you see at the ballpark every night, thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. See double barrel action in the Reds bullpen. Lorenzen's ready to go if they need him, and Crockett the left hand. See the big shift they put on for Jesse Winker. He banged one into left field against that shift here last night. Good breaking ball there, swung on and missed. As this game goes along, this Kingham Pretty impressive.
Well, his breaking stuff is beginning to get better and better here. He feels got his nice release point of it. He nearly knocked his cap off as he came up over his head on that very last pitch. It looks like his glove and his hand kind of caught the bill of his cap. He was still able to keep it together and throw a pretty quality pitch.
Good rip at a pitch right there and fouled it back.
Now, we showed you the shift, and here's obviously why, because when you take the biggest numbers right here, you see all these players ready to go.
And against the shift, he loops one into left field, a base hit. In fairness, it's inaccurate of me to say he hits against the shift because in the outfield, they very much had him play to hit the ball the other way.
They'll take a couple hundred of these. I mean, really on a swing like that, the worst thing that you're going to do is probably foul the ball off. Because you're trying to make contact. You're slowing your swing down so you do make contact. And he keeps that 12-game hitting streak alive.
Yes, indeed. Second longest we mentioned in the National League, and that is second longest to the man who's out in center field tonight. Starling Marte, he's hitting 13 in a row. So now Duvall, he popped up into short right his first time up. Number of games were played earlier today in Major League Baseball. Big interleague weekend series, and we talked about how the Reds and Indians unfortunately don't get to have those interleague series on a weekend. The Mets and the Yankees did again this weekend. Maybe one of these days. 2-1. Had a good rip there and fouled it out of play. Marlins and the Rays getting together over this weekend. Well, what a wild game that was last night. The Indians and the Rangers. We were talking about that one. Cleveland ended up winning that game. And they're scoreless in the bottom of the fourth inning tonight, perhaps worn out from last night. This one playable. Right behind the bag. One hit, one left. We played 4 after the delay. 2-0 Pirates in front.
right now, 21-11 since June 10th. And according to Joey Votto, managers and players from around the league have taken notice. Here's what Votto had to say about the Reds' goals for the back half of the season.
I think our next step is getting up to 500 and then going from there. So we've got two months to make that happen. I think what we've done of late is really, I think, pretty impressive. And guys around the league have commented on it. Coaches and managers have commented on it. So I think the next step is 500, and then we'll go. Like I said, we'll go from there.
Shannon, thank you very much. Well, you know, that's the most difficult thing when you start out 8-27 is what Votto was talking about, is continuing to play well to get back to 500. You know, the Reds had won 21 out of 30 games. And they would basically need to do virtually the same thing again just to get back to the 500 mark. They sit 11 under right now, and that is whacked into right field, and Dickerson has homered again. He homered back in the third inning. It was a third straight game which he'd hit a home run. And for DeSclafani, it's his 7th start this year, and 8 of 9 where he's allowed at least 1 home run. So you throw in the 2 tonight, he's now given up 14 of them in 47 innings.
Well, if you remember the other home run that Dickerson hit early, it was the same count. First pitch of the at-bat was a curveball.
Yep.
So now Dickerson comes up here. He's thinking, you know what? I had a curveball first pitch home run. There's no way he's throwing me another curveball first pitch home run. He's coming fastball right there. He did, and he launched. I heard a very interesting interview with Corey Dickerson over the wintertime. Tom, actually, was in the time of spring training, talking in detail about his hitting. And his approach is as close to Joey Votto as I've heard of anybody talk about really getting technical about, you know, hitting around his spine and neutral hips and really breaking it down as to how it compares with his body. He's made some major adjustments from last year to this year, and it's really beginning to pay off. Interesting guy.
Guy's a good player. That's going to be all for DeSclafani. Faces the first 2 batters here in the 5th inning, and that's all she wrote. I would imagine we'll see Crockett, the left-hander, coming in to face Polanco, and then maybe we'll see a right-hander get the final out of the inning. But DeSclafani goes 4 1/3. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. He comes back after the delay and leaves trailing by 3. Six hits on the board for the Pirates, 3 runs, all earned. He struck out 6, walked a couple. One of those walks an intentional walk. And he trails 3-0. Crockett comes on to face a left-handed batting Gregory Polanco. This is where Crockett is paid a major league salary and a mighty good one to get left-handers out. And unfortunately for him here of late, that has not been the story for Kyle Crockett. He will get this left-hander out, however. So, well done there, and that's the second out here in the inning. Do they stay with him to go ahead and face Diaz? Who's a right-handed batter. Then you have a left-hander in Colin Moran next. They will stay with him. Pitcher spot due up second in the bottom of the fifth inning. So rather than burn through, in essence, three pitchers, DeSclafani, Crockett, and then a right-hander, Lorenzen, or anyone else down there, they're hoping they can get the final out of this left-hander. That's not going to happen here. That ball is smoked up against the wall down the left field line. And boy, Diaz has really looked good at the plate.
He really has. It was a very rough spring for Diaz. You may have read the story about Elias Diaz, who was from Zulia in Venezuela. That's a state down in the western part of the country. And his mother was kidnapped back in February, and she was pulled away for 3 days before she was finally rescued. And they ended up arresting a group of rogue policemen who were a part of a drug enforcement and investigation unit. And evidently it was all an inside deal. She was released unharmed, and it was a lot of scary time there for a while there. He was a little bit late to get into spring training because of that, but well, what an ordeal to have to go through.
Oh, no question. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you just can't, and there are many things like that in life. They're just the kind of thing you can't put into words.
Well,
that must be like.
You know, we've seen more and more kidnappings in Venezuela.
Yes, we have.
A lot of Venezuelan baseball players who don't go back to Venezuela in the wintertime, primarily for that reason.
Yep. That one will get away, and the runner will advance.
Trying to snap that breaking ball off just a little bit extra.
Well, the Pirates already up 3. That's certainly a runner standing 90 feet away that you'd like to leave stranded and get back in there to the plate. Kingham appears to be throwing the ball very well here tonight. That pitch up and in.
Of course, if you're Elias Diaz at third base, you're thinking, you know what, if he can throw one in the dirt, he can throw another in the dirt right here. He'll go as far down the line as the third baseman will allow him.
Down the line and hooking, foul, and a good thing. Talking about Moran, he's had 2 4-hit games so far this season. Well, in his major league career for that matter, and both of them have come against the Cincinnati Reds, including here last night. 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Moran will drop the helmet and the bat. Good job by Crockett. 3-0 Pirates. Reds bat in the 5th. Bakery. You can get half-price Reds tickets, enjoy live mascot races, face painters. Kids 14 and younger get a Tucker Barnard Fat Ed tomorrow. That's thanks to PNC Bank. Log on to Reds.com. All right, let's see if the Reds can get something going offensively. They were really shut down in the game here last night. And that's a good way to get it started. That one is blasted, but able to run it down is Marte. Hard hit ball, but allowed out for Casale. You know, the Reds last night, I mean, they had 9 hits. 6 of them came in 3 innings. The second, the third, and the 8th. They only had 1 run. So Michael Lorenzen is going to bat, and I would imagine just stay in the game to pitch. You know, somebody asked me tonight a question. You know, you were talking about last night, Bob Walker asking you about a rules question.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me a question today, and I mean, I think I know the answer, but I'm going to say for sure I don't know for sure. When Michael Lorenzen, oh, that ball's going to get away. That's just a poor throw by Kingham. That should have been an easy out. And he threw it into the runner, and Bell was unable to get it.
Yeah, they kind of lollipopped it in there. That's the problem right here. The one thing the Pirates would be thinking about is where's Michael Lorenzen running right here? And did he interfere with the throw being received by the first baseman? If I'm Clint Hurl, at least I'm having a conversation with the umpires about that.
I think he's too mad at his own pitcher.
Well, maybe he just thought that the throw was so wild,
Yeah.
maybe not a catchable throw anyway. You normally see that called only when the throw is a good throw and that the first baseman is shielded one way or another by the runner coming down the line.
All right, so here's a question for you, okay? I don't know if this technically falls under a rule or not. I don't know how you define this. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Line to the center field, and Marte's got it. When Lorenzen came up and hit a grand slam as a pinch hitter, he did not stay in the game to pitch. Okay? So is he credited as hitting a home run as a pitcher or as a player? I know it's a pinch hit home run. But when you go and say, okay, this pitcher had so many home runs during the course of his career, because he's designated on the roster as a pitcher, does that automatically mean that's where it would go? You know?
Why are you asking me?
Well, I mean, you generally know the answer to these kinds of things.
I can make one up, or I could tell you I know who asked that question of you because he just asked the question to me during the rain delay.
Right inside, that's right. Same thing with me.
Rusty.
Yeah.
And so we went over to the official scorer, Ron Roth, who has the answers when it comes to scoring. And he didn't know. But basically, it's a pinch hit home run.
Right.
So whether it is, until Michael Lorenzen plays another position, you know, I guess that's a pitcher that hit a home run. So if it depends what you're going to ask. How many pitchers on the Reds team have hit home runs? You would have to include Lorenzen.
That's what I thought. There's a broken bat, one hopper, and that'll end the inning.
Well, you and I agree.
Well, I tell you what. We're going to break on that, and we better start checking the stars. Are they aligned? Is there something going on? Is this the second coming?
raised in Cincinnati. I mean, got drafted, went through the farm system, got called up here, spent arguably eight of the greatest years of playing that I had here. And, just the relationships that I made here, kind of coming from, being probably a little turd punk kid to, semi-maturing a little bit by the time I got out of here. In Cincinnati, the town, the people here had a lot to do with it.
I mean, some of the numbers are just outstanding for Adam Dunn, no question about it. He will enter the Reds Hall of Fame officially tomorrow night at the big gala. Led or tied the team in home runs 7 straight years, had 40 of those years where he hit 40 or more. It's first all time in the history of the franchise, 7th best on base percentage. 01 to 08. Went on and had some decent years with Arizona and among others, White Sox there near the end.
He actually had, and I was doing some research on Adam Dunn's career, the last couple of days, Tom. One of the most unusual major league careers in the history of baseball. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. I'm going to ask him about it tomorrow.
Look forward to that. Base hit into left field by Bell to start this inning against Lorenzen, who does indeed stay in the game to pitch. Crockett in 2/3 allows a hit with a strikeout, no runs. And that will bring Rodriguez to the plate. They had rainouts tonight. The Padres and the Phillies, the Braves and the Nationals also washed out tonight. Brewers in the 6th inning, they never get washed out. They've got that dome at Miller Park. Popped up into foul ground, and that's out number 1. Brewers lead the Dodgers 3-2. They're in the 6th inning. Told you the Cubbies beat up the Cardinals 7-2 earlier today, so they'll wrap up a 4-game series tomorrow. Cubs have won 2 of the front 3. They were the first team to come back, you may remember, the only 2 teams in baseball that played on Thursday of the All-Star break. So here's Mercer. And is that Kingham coming into the on-deck circle? Yeah, it is. He's going to stay in there. Waited through the delay and has come back and really should have had a 1-2-3 5th inning after allowing just 1 hit following the delay in the 4th. You wonder what the mood would be like right now in Pittsburgh. That ball hit hard down the left field line. And that will fall in fair. On his way to 3rd is Bell. They're going to hold him there on a double by Mercer. So it's a perfect time for a pitcher to be coming up unless Clint Hurdle changes his mind.
A little slider right there, and again, a breaking pitch is not doing a whole lot. Right on the end of the bat, but keeping it fair. There's Jordy Mercer, and 2nd and 3rd, the Pirates go. Now, they did a little safety squeeze last night. I wonder if they'll do the same thing here tonight.
And we saw that with Tyone in the 4th inning of the game last night.
Safety squeeze will work best when you punch that ball down the right field line, and Jim Riggleman's going to come out and have a little conversation right here. Maybe remind his defense about that same thing. Normally, to finish that thought, the safety squeeze works best when the batter can push the ball down the first base line and make the first baseman field it. And it works even better when there's runners at first and third, because then the first baseman has to hold the runner and he can't cheat quite as much. He probably just wanted to make them aware of what the situations are, you know, and I would think rather than a safety squeeze right here, if they're going to squeeze a run in, it would be just a normal suicide squeeze, which is always an exciting play.
Well, it should be noted when they had the squeeze last night, they had the same runner at third base, Bell. Kingham does not have a sacrifice this year. And that's in 10 starts. Ball one up and in.
He's not even looking down at the third base coach to get a sign. And Joey Core, the third base coach, is even looking back at him. So
and of course, his brother is now the first-year manager of the Boston Red Sox. Oh, what a year they're having. Golly day. I mean, they never lose. They're going for their 70th win of the year today. 70. 2-2 the count. They would be 70-30. You're the New York Yankees, and you're 28 games over 500, and you're 5.5 out of first place. He puts a bat on the ball. Oh, boy. And that ball gets through. That would have been a disaster for the Pirates if he fields the ball cleanly, because the runner never broke from third.
Yeah.
He had just dropped anchor, and the runner from second had taken off to third. The Reds conceivably could have gotten a double play out of that ball. And it goes right by Peraza.
just a little squiver right through the middle there, playing the angles. You're just not able to get to it. Sure makes a manager smart when that happens.
Well, all of a sudden now 3-0 has become 5-0 on a 2-run single by the pitcher. So Pirate pitchers in the last 2 games, 3 runs batted in, game and a half really. We're talking about the mood a little bit in Pittsburgh, and the fan base was so angry when they traded away Andrew McCutchen and then Garrett Cole during this offseason. As there's a tapper down to Votto, they'll get one, and the return not going to be in time to get Dickerson. First time in the last 3 trips to the plate he's not hit a home run. But then the Pirates get off to a great start, and the fans were still livid. They weren't buying into whatever it is the Pirates were trying to sell, and they're still mad. And you talk to the people who live in Pittsburgh or really follow this team regularly, and they'll tell you that there has been 0 forgiveness whatsoever from the fan base even now. Yet they're trying to earn their way back. They've won 7 in a row, and a win tonight would put them a game over 500. And they're very much in it. I say 8.5 back. That's 8.5 back behind the Cubs. That's only 5.5 out of the wild card.
You know, it's hard to tell your fan base to have a little patience when you trade away a guy like Garrett Cole and you get 3 major leaguers in return, but until you let them get older and kind of settle in, you really don't know what you have.
Runner takes off, and that'll be a foul ball. Dickerson will come back to first.
There was time called.
Amir Garrett cranking it up in the bullpen. Reds trying to. Well, wait a minute now. Are they saying that ball was not fouled off?
They're saying it was not fouled off, and Dickerson thought it was a foul ball. So he started to go back, and the question is whether there was time called or not. Because if there was not time called, when he starts going back to first base, he can be tagged out. A swing and a miss. That's strike two. That's not a foul ball. I don't think that's a foul ball sign that he gave him.
Well, let's see if the home plate umpire called time here. He gave the sign. Oh,
he
time
did call
is called.
time. Yeah, but he gave the catcher a new ball.
All right, so the runner is in scoring position. That'll be a stolen base for Dickerson, his 6th. Well, I did not realize today the Cubs and the Cardinals were playing a day-night doubleheader tonight. That's game 2 they're playing in Chicago with a 3-2 lead. They're already in the 7th inning of that game tonight. They must have started early of the day-night doubleheader because it's only, what, 8:30 back there. Suarez to the glove side to end the inning. But 2 more runs. The pitcher knocks in 2. And the Pirates lead by 5. Flashback this day in Reds history. Ken Griffey Jr. hits number 606 and then takes off his helmet and gave it to that kid. Look at that. All right, so that's 08, right? 10 years ago that was. So that little guy probably was about, what do we think, 6, 7, 8 maybe?
Okay.
Right? So he's driving now. And I wonder where in the world he has that helmet. Because, you know, the world is littered, and I am a case in point of this. You know, goes to show you get spoiled, you know, being a little kid and being around all the Reds and was a bat boy in spring training from time to time. And, I mean, I'd get stuff from – I remember the very first day my dad got the job, we went to Tampa, Florida, out Lopez Field. I was handed a bat by Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, and Tony Perez. I couldn't tell you where one of those bats is today if my life depended on it. There's a fly ball into right center field. 2 pitches and 2 outs.
Well, it's been that kind of night for Nick Kingham. He's had the worst inning he had as far as number of pitches goes right here at the very top. In the first inning, he threw 23, and then he decided to get efficient. I mean, really efficient. 5 in the second, 7 in the fifth. 2 pitches, 2 outs here. Mandatory take. You don't want to give a pitcher a 3-pitch inning. Although I had a pitching coach, former Cincinnati Red great right-handed pitcher Sammy Ellis, who was my pitching coach in the minor leagues with the Yankees, who had a standing deal with every pitcher on the staff that if you had a 3-pitch inning, he would buy us a case of beer. And I had a 3-pitch inning. But I had to pick a guy off first base to do it.
So did he make good on that promise?
Well, he wanted to get off on a technicality, but we made him own up to it.
You better believe it. Sammy's a good man.
Oh,
God,
one of the best ever.
No doubt. He went around and had a lengthy inning. 6-pitch inning.
They take on the St. Louis Cardinals for as low as $12. Catch this exciting matchup presented by Swedish Fish. For tickets, visit Reds.com.
All righty, Pick. Thank you very much. The Reds come to bat and go down 1-2-3 in the 6th inning. So now Amir Garrett will take over in the 7th. We have seen DeSclafani. He gave up 3. Crockett gave up none, and Lorenzen just gave up 2.
Well, you got 2 left-handers for the first 3 batters scheduled in this inning. So Garrett comes in, game number 46. He's already pitched nearly 48 innings. And I would imagine this is one guy the Reds are going to keep an eye on as far as pitch usage between now and the end of the year. Initially, the idea with Garrett was to pitch him in multiple innings. But you start racking up the number of games that he has been in, plus you start calculating the number of innings, and so a young guy that has not been doing this out of the bullpen much before. You play it conservative.
He'll be facing Polanco, Diaz, Moran, lefty, righty, lefty.
You know, we've said this about Amir Garrett when he faces Eric Thames, for instance, and then Kyle Schwarber or Anthony Rizzo, and now Gregory Polanco, all left-handers inside the National League Central Division and the best left-handed hitters they've got. So this matchup will happen over and over again in the coming years.
This will be handled by Jeanette. 1 out. Now Diaz, 1 of 3, had a double his last time up, and now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
Good fastball there from Garrett. And that'll even the count at 1-1 on Diaz. Again in the air. And Peraza camps underneath it to the outfield grass for the second out of the inning. So Garrett retires the first 2. And now Colin Moran will make his way to the plate. 0 for 2 tonight. Drew a walk back in the 4th inning. Has struck out looking twice. Reds only 2 hits in the game. A 2-out double by Peraza up the left field line in the 3rd, and a 2-out single by Winker. Just a little flare into left field came in the 4th. 1 ball and 1 strike on Moran. Said a little while ago the Indians and the Rangers were scoreless in the 4th. At the end of 5, Cleveland leads 8-0. Mercy. And the Red Sox, by the way, lost today. I was saying they were going for their 70th win. They were shut out in Detroit 5-0. By the way, in that Cardinal game earlier today, Matt Carpenter homered. And he homered early in the afternoon during the day game. He's homered now just a little while ago in the 2nd game, which makes him the first Cardinal ever to homer in 6 consecutive games during a single season. Gone swinging is Moran for the 3rd time tonight. Good work by Garrett. Reds have work to do. Down 5. Built for Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. That was that little base hit we were talking about by Winker into left field that came in the Cincinnati 4th inning, and that extended Jesse's hitting streak to a career best 12. Longest by a Reds rookie player since Billy Hamilton hit it 12 straight. And there's another hit for Jesse.
Boy, is he making it look easy.
He really is.
I mean, he flipped one just down the left field line when they completely shifted him to the right side. That time they kept Moran, the third baseman, in, moved him over a little bit towards shortstop, and still didn't cover the angle, and he's going to go right in here.
All right, so a nice way to get it started. Reds need somebody else besides Winker getting hits. He did a pile of that here last night. Duvall looks at ball one. Winker had 3 hits, including an RBI double in that opening game loss here last night to the Bucks. Straight up into the air. And Bell sort of got turned around funny. Now rights the ship. One away. Now Casale.
Boy, for Nick Kingham, here's a guy that I don't think that they had the expectations really to what he's delivered for them. They have always kind of penciled him in as maybe a 4th or a 5th starter based on the fact that he doesn't have an overpowering fastball. But including tonight, he has 10 starts so far this year, and this is the 4th time he has pitched into the 7th inning.
Hey, he hasn't been dominant. He's been extraordinarily pitch efficient.
Yeah.
I mean, the Reds have been up there swinging early and swinging often. I mean, that's 74th pitch coming up, and he's an out into the 7th inning.
And really not making great contact.
No.
That's a good-looking curveball,
Sure
I'll tell you.
Is. Well, I mean, you made the point that earlier before the rain delay, he didn't have this pitch.
No, and I don't know whether the air has dried up a little bit or whether he got a dry uniform on or just fixed something. But he's throwing the ball much better with that breaking pitch. And he's got 2 different speeds on the breaking pitch, which is something that I remember that Robin Roberts told me back when I was in college. That, that was one of the 3 things that you have to do in pitching. One is, you throw strikes, you get a decision on a 2-2 count, and have 2 speeds on your curveball. That's all I remember from college.
Well, those are 3 good things to remember. It served you well moving forward in your choice of career, right? I mean, so.
Well, I wrote those down.
Well, you had to be in attendance to write them down. This young man has looked sharp. No 2 ways about it. And look, he's been, we brought up earlier, he was signed as a high school guy. But make no mistake about it, he's waited 8 seasons to get to the major leagues since signing out of high school. A lot of injuries. Going back to 2015, only pitched in 6 games that year, 12 total the next year.
Well, part of the problem that he had coming up is that he had Tommy John surgery after he was signed. And he was one of those players that dropped to the 4th round for whatever reason. And the Pirates overpaid the slot in order to get him to sign.
That ball's hit pretty well into left field. Is it well enough? And that is off the top of the wall. No, that's a home run, they're saying. The third base umpire says home run. Duvall. Casale, I beg your pardon, hitting his second home run as a Red. Let's see where this lands. Yeah, it's a home run. It was over that yellow line, hit a fan in the hands, wasn't interfering with it. And this will be a crew review. This is why they created instant replay in baseball. Fair or foul home runs or calls like this, whether or not it was a home run. What do you think?
I think it's a home run.
Home run it is.
I think they could put a basket up there like they do at Wrigley Field and eliminate all that.
I love that idea.
Of course, I've completely redesigned the outfield walls here in the last couple of nights.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, both of your points are well made. You did it here and St. Louis in terms of padding on the wall.
Yeah. I'm really surprised with the padding on the wall thing that the Major League Baseball Players Association haven't stepped up and, you know, asked for a little more safety up there in those outfield walls. But Casale, happy about that long ball.
So a 2-run home run, and that'll be all for Nick Kingham. He pitched an excellent game tonight. Only gave up 4 hits. Santana will come on from the bullpen. He had 3 strikeouts and 2 walks, did Kingham. And he's in town for a couple of weeks. Of course, he spent a number of years playing alongside Adam Dunn. That ball ripped into left field against the new pitcher Edgar Santana by Phillip Urban. Urban got a start here in the game last night. I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever it will not be long for Bronson Arroyo to go into the Reds Hall of Fame. He had a great career here in Cincinnati, very popular. Of course, you know, the leading vote getter among fans who have the opportunity to do so will be coming up pretty soon. I don't know if his name will be on the ballot or would he have to be retired a certain period of time to be on that ballot. But when his name comes up, he'll be in. Just so easy to talk to. One of the more likable guys that has ever played.
Well, you ask anybody who's ever played with Bronson Arroyo, they'll tell you that he's one of the best teammates they've ever had. And for our job, Tom, you know, being a part of the media, he was just wonderful to work for.
Yeah, the best. The best. One to Billy Hamilton. Threw a fastball right by him. 95 miles an hour from Edgar Santana. Solid game by the Pirates starter. You see Santana's having an excellent year. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio. Nearly 8-1. There are many guys pitching in the big leagues walking around with an 8-1 strikeout to walk ratio. You can probably count them on one hand.
He was hoping to add to it with that last pitch. He thought that was in the strike zone.
2-2 on Billy. Strike three there.
Now, according to the Fox tracks, he did not throw one pitch out of the zone.
Peraza waiting. He has been on base twice, and there's a liner at the third baseman to end the inning. We're off to the 8th. But the Reds get 2, and now within 3.
Breaking play came at the top of the 9th when Alex Blandino turned a double play that would result in the tear of his ACL. And Blandino will undergo surgery on Monday and said despite the season-ending injury, there are no hard feelings between he and Pirates' Max Moroff.
Yeah, I heard from Max after the game. You know, he was apologetic, felt really bad about it. I think just kind of had to do with the muddy conditions out there. He kind of stuck on his slide. Turned out to be, you know, pretty like not ideal just way to slide, but I know it wasn't what he intended, so you know, there's no hard feelings.
Shannon, thank you very much. So, you know, you just hate seeing it to anybody. I mean, you don't want to see it for one of your own guys. You don't want to see it to anybody from the other guys. It's part of the game, any game. Doesn't matter what game it is. but it's too bad. So now Jared Hughes. He did not pitch in the game here last night, so his first appearance post All-Star break. Those numbers could have easily earned him a trip to the All-Star game in D.C. He's just had a great year. It's the only way to describe it. He's had a great year. Brewers 4-2 over the Dodgers, bottom of the 8th inning. Still the Cubs 3-2 over the Cardinals in the nightcap. That game is in the 8th. After the Cubs won game 1 7-2. The red-hot Colorado Rockies. What is going on out in the Mile High City? They took it to the Diamondbacks last night. 4-4 the score tonight in the 6th inning. Colorado is shooting for its 7th straight win. The Rockies are only 2 games behind the Dodgers and just a half game behind Arizona for second place. Looked like a little miscommunication there. Thought Peraza was coming to get that ball. Jeanette had no chance to throw out the runner. Peraza was the only guy that had a shot.
That's 4 hits on the night for Josh Bell. Guy that did not get a hit last night. He's getting them every which way you can here tonight. Up the middle, down the third baseline. A double in the right center field gap, and this little infield hit right there.
Perfect bunt by Rodriguez. So the first 2 reach against Hughes here to begin the Pittsburgh 8th inning. Smart play.
Really smart play. I mean, what does he do, right? He bunts the ball and then he runs rather than trying to get a good start out of the box. You know, it ought to be mentioned that when you're facing Jared Hughes, that's a guy that would be a little bit easier to bunt because you're not looking at a high fastball in the high 90s that you try to get the ball down. He's going to be down around the knees, so you're likely not to pop the ball up. All you've got to do is put a good angle on the bat.
Now they have Mercer put down a bunt. Boy, you can't do it better now.
I'll tell you. Their fundamentals have been very good.
Yes, they have been. So the runners advance. And now David Freese, a one-time postseason hero of the St. Louis Cardinals. MVP of both the National League Championship Series and the World Series. Will come up and bat for the pitcher Santana, who goes 2/3 of an inning, allows a hit, gets a strikeout, no run. First pitch in there is a strike. How about that right there? That looks like that was made at home by somebody. Right to the second baseman, Jeanette. Coming to the plate. And what a pickup by Casale. Holy Moses, it looked like that ball was in the dirt just in front of the plate. Runners coming hard at him, and he scoops it up and still makes a tag. That ball did bounce, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure looked like it did to me. And the Pirates are not going to ask for a review of this. Bell going on contact. Here comes the throw, and indeed it was.
Wow.
It's the second time in about a week that Casale has picked and tagged like that.
And that is a great play. We know Scooter's been bothered with that sore shoulder pretty much this entire season. Had to take a few days off earlier this year, and you know, making those throws been pretty tough for him to make. Look at the position by Casale, the foot, keeping Bell's hand from even getting to the plate. Look at that.
It's about as much as you can block without being in an illegal block.
Gosh, what a nice play that was.
Get nearly $8,500 cash back on this specially equipped Sierra SLT Crew Cab model when you finance through GM Financial.
All right, one more big out to go. Dickerson has a pair of home runs in the game tonight. And this will bring in a run. It'll be a wild pitch. And that makes it a 4-run spread.
Well, this really was a wild one right there. I mean, he was expecting that ball on the third base side of home plate. Missed his target by almost 2 feet.
Reds had just trimmed that Pirate lead from 5-0 down to 5-2. And they come right back and get one more, and that'll end the inning on the line drive to center.
Boy, does that guy ever hit the ball easy?
Especially in this ballpark. We gave the numbers early.
Players together very often, and not many teams will take the time to teach them and make sure that they know how to play. This is a select group of people who played in the Big Red Machine. I love some of them and I hated some of them because managers against them, they broke my heart too many times.
Dave Bristol, one of our all-time favorites to ever put on a baseball uniform, not just a Reds uniform. Manager for 4 years, right in front of Sparky Anderson, of course. 10 most wins in franchise history, a winning percentage of over .524. Fifth manager to be elected in Reds Hall of Fame history.
Solid baseball guy.
No question.
And I'll tell you, he does not miss a game. He is on us every night watching Reds baseball.
Tell you who else is, and he reminded me of it tonight when I saw him down on the field before the ball games, Pete. I mean, he is dialed in every night.
That's good to know. Is he the one texting you all night long?
No, he says to me, he says, look, he said, I've sent you some texts up there. I said, I always write you back. I said, you know, I said, I'll always write you back. And he said, well, I'm going to start critiquing you guys a little bit. I said, I'm all in. Look at those numbers on Crick. There's another guy. Can make an argument. There was a place for him on the All-Star team, but we talked about it before the teams were named. It is just so rare to see the setup guy or the seventh inning guy. Now, Jeffress made it from Milwaukee, but that was only because a couple of pitchers had to pull out with injuries.
Well, Crick is one of those guys who the Pirates got in return for Andrew McCutchen. So you expect to get some quality right there.
Well, I tell you, if there's one thing I can't figure out, it's the art of the trade. Because there seem to be some teams that, you know, make trades where you're looking at guys the same year or a year later, and you're going, wow, this guy's got a chance to be part of our team for a long, long time. Crick would fit that bill. We've seen him tonight. Moran would fit that bill. We're seeing him tonight. A week from tonight, the 28th, the first 20,000 fans through the gates get a Joey Votto Funko Pop. Thanks to Ram Trucks. 500 lucky fans get a limited edition gold Joey Votto Funko Pop. Walk the Moon will be playing after the game that night. It's going to be a big night next Saturday night. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Huge night next Saturday night, the 28th. Votto 0 for 3. Hard hit ball to straightaway center field. Marte back to get it. Net will end the inning. Or second out of the inning, I beg your pardon. Forgive me. And Suarez will bat. So a strikeout of Jeanette, a line out by Votto, and now Suarez. Well, after every game here on Fox Sports Ohio, we call it Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We invite you to stick around for that.
Diaz is looking and saying, I think it's got a dent in it. That's how hard Crick threw that fastball and barely ticked by Suarez right into the face.
One ball and one strike on Suarez. And the Reds only have a total of 5 base hits, and not one of them has come from their 3 All-Stars tonight, batting 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup. And the only one that's been on base was a first inning walk to Jeanette. Scooter 0 for 3, Votto 0 for 4, Suarez 0 for 3. Swing and a miss. Couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3-8 for Crick. Off to the ninth. Pirates lead 6-2.
Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Hey, Reds fans, don't forget to join us 30 minutes before every game right here on Fox Sports Ohio for Reds Live, the pregame edition brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow back to our normal time at 12:30 start. And tomorrow we'll get two good right-handers going. Ivan Nova goes for the Pirates, 5-6 on the year, going up against the Reds. Matt Harvey, who's really come on strong his last couple starts. He's 5-5. Again, game time at 1:10. Tom?
All righty, Pick. Look forward to tomorrow's game. Reds are going to get everybody into a game in their bullpen. Last night we saw Hernandez and Bryce and Stevens. Seen Lorenzen the last couple of nights. Seen Crockett, Garrett, Hughes, and now Iglesias, the closer, who retires the first Pirate here in the ninth inning. That would be Marte, and Reds are trailing 6-2. Here's Polanco in there, a strike. Well, you wonder when the rumors, if they're going to start at all, and there have been a few sort of floaters with nothing really tied to it, no substance to it. And may have heard the news earlier today where the Oakland Athletics, and we brought it up last night, that they were trying to nail down the deal to bring in Familia, the closer of the New York Mets, and that they have done. So will, teams be making phone calls, you think, Chris, to the Reds about one Raisel Iglesias?
I'm sure they will. There are a lot of teams out there looking for pitching. The ball clubs are very close to the vest.
Sure
about
you're right.
Trade deals and so on. But in my conversations with some of the front office guys here, I'm asking what are teams looking for? And of course, they are looking for pitching. Starting pitching, one of those guys will be on the hill for the Reds tomorrow. With all the rumors and everything going around with Matt Harvey, and Iglesias would be a very much sought after pitcher because he's under team control for the next few years, very reasonably priced, and he's got outstanding stuff. So even if you're a contending team that doesn't need a closer, say you just need a really great quality setup guy, they're sending people around to watch Raisel Iglesias.
Pull to the right side, and Votto will wave off Weissel. 2 down. Coming up on Saturday, August 4th, that's just a couple of weeks from today, it's a Zach Brown Band Down the Rabbit Hole tour featuring Leon Bridges. You can go to Reds.com/Zach Brown Band for ticket information or buy tickets there. So Iglesias retires the first 2. And here's Diaz. Trying to hit that ball off of U.S. Bank Arena out there. Boy, where did that miss? You know, we're blocked sometime by the umpire and the catcher. We're sitting basically just behind and slightly above. Well, he's going to get him on the next pitch. So Iglesias, a nice start to the second half. 3 ground ball outs. Reds will bat in the last of the 9th. One more shot at him. Sports Ohio brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Grade 8. George Foster, Pete Rose, Joe Morgan. Left, center, and right in the middle is Joe. One more fighting chance for the Redlegs against the Pirates here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And their all-star closer, this is not a save situation, but Felipe Vasquez, outside of about a week and a half slump where he blew, 4 saves in a row. And that's a total he's blown all year long, 23 of 27.
He's waiting for Winker to get in the batter's box. That's why he's grinning. You know, for a while there, Tom, they thought that he may have hurt his arm when he went through that little slow period.
2-0. Still waiting on Winker to get in the box. Right now he's in there. Jesse, a big swing and a foul ball back out of play. 2-1. Jesse to be followed by Adam Duvall and then Kurt Casale. Casale accounting for the only 2 runs tonight for the Reds, clubbing a 2-run home run back in the 7th inning. A very good start tonight by Nick Kingham, making just his 10th major league start. Three and 2 on Winker. That's strike 3 called. Winker disagrees with Gibson.
Pitch number 6.
Here's Duvall 0 for 3. Is popped to right, popped to second, and fouled out to the first baseman, Bell.
You know, Vasquez was a trade deadline acquisition by the Pittsburgh Pirates a couple of years ago. Came over from the Washington Nationals. That's when the Nationals really needed a closer. And they traded for Mark Melancon. And they didn't want to give up Vasquez. At that time, his name was, he was using the name Felipe Rivero. Always had a tremendous arm.
That one's into left field, and a base hit for Duvall. He'll go in with a double. Well, I brought up earlier, the 2 Reds runs tonight came off the bat of this man right here, and this is our Miller Lite hold true moment. Casale in the 7th inning with a man aboard against Kingham. That would be the final batter he faced tonight. Just over the left field wall. He has really done a good job with his team. He doesn't get to play a lot, but when he does, has done an excellent job both behind the plate and swinging a bat.
I think he's impressed a lot of people more than they probably thought that they were going to get.
Oh boy, you could hear that all the way up here. And of course, this has been something that has happened regularly between these 2 teams for years and years and years and years. They set an all-time major league record for a 2-year span, a 3-year span, for number of batters hit when the 2 teams play one another. We haven't seen it this year except for the Suarez play early in the year when the ball clipped his thumb and fractured his thumb that first weekend of the year.
I'm sorry, I can't call that as trying to hit the guy or even coming inside off the plate. The way he turned into that ball right there. I mean, he left the inside of his elbow exposed to it. And Vasquez was throwing 98 miles an hour. That had to really hurt.
Oh, no question. All right, so 2-1. This game is not over yet. We saw the wild finish in Cleveland. You just never know. This Reds team has proven time and time again, A, it won't quit, and B, they can put up a pile of runs on you. Here's Barnhart batting for Iglesias. Hopefully that's not something that's going to bother. It's going to bother him. That's the wrong word. Hopefully that's something that's not going to be more serious for Casale once he moves an hour or two after the game.
Well, it's his throwing arm. It's the other thing to consider there. So you ask yourself, do you go into the game tomorrow, the next day, and the next day with only one catcher if he can't play behind the plate and throw? We won't know that till tomorrow.
You know, it's a very interesting point, Chris, you make, because I think those are the things a lot of times that a lot of us don't think of when you're the general manager of a baseball team. I mean, here you are in the ninth inning, you're down by 4, you're sitting in the box, you know, a few doors down, you're thinking, God, can we come back and win this game? You're thinking about trades, probably fielding calls from teams, and then all of a sudden, sort of a nothing, I'm not going to say nothing, the guy got hit, but you know what I mean. He gets hit with a pitch in the ninth inning, and then all of a sudden he's saying, well, hold on a minute now. We might not have a backup catcher available. We might have to put this guy on the disabled list before the game tomorrow. And how soon? Where's Louisville? Now, maybe they know the answer to that question already, but maybe they don't. And you're saying, well, we got to get their backup guy on a plane just in case here. Because you can't go into a game with one catcher. I mean, you could, I guess, but
you're rolling the dice.
You're really rolling the dice. You know, you're looking up at the clock, and it's 10:45 on a Saturday night. As Barnhart has gone swinging. Reds are down to their final out. Reds have only managed a total of 3 runs in the first 2 games against this series. And we talked about the Pirates. They're now away from their 8th straight win, and their starting pitching during this run has been nothing shy of incredible. An ERA of 2.8 in the last 10 games. And this is in the air, short right field. And that's the old ball game. Pirates have won the first 2 of this series in Cincinnati. Valdez allows a hit, hits a batter, strikes out 2 in the ninth. Pirates win the first 2 of the series. Big weekend here in Cincinnati, all the Hall of Fame inductions. You can catch up all that. Reds Live, which begins right now.